A man used a grinder to sharpen a dog's teeth. Then it lured the dog to bite raw meat and pulled hard to train its biting ability. Then it tied the dog to a treadmill. Once it slowed down, the man whipped it to train its endurance. Finally, after starving the dog for days and nights, the man nailed Bones to the board. The dog was already starving and would bite madly. Finally, the man pretended to rob food of it. The dog immediately showed a fierce expression. The dog's most primitive nature was fully stimulated. Even though it was originally a docile and well-behaved pet, now there was only murderous intent in its eyes. A cruel fighting dog Hagen was born. After the man accepted the training result, brought Hagen to an underground dog fighting arena. There were bodies of dogs everywhere. But people just threw their bodies aside like throwing away garbage. Facing Hagen's first match, people had no expectation. Advised the man to choose a weaker opponent. But the man resolutely chose the strongest black dog. Soon the match began. The two dogs immediately bit each other madly. After several rounds, Hagen finally defeated the black dog. Blood dyed Hagen's hair was red. Looking at its opponent lying motionless on the ground, Hagen's eyes were filled with heavy sadness. It didn't know why it became like this. Just then the dog fighting arena suddenly lost power. In the chaos, Hagen took the opportunity to escape. It successfully escaped and ran madly with the seeds of revenge in his heart. No one expected that Hagen would become an unrivaled leader of the dog world. No matter what breed, dogs would bow in front of it because it was the bravest dog. But that was not what Hagen wanted. Hagen's happiest moment was when it was with his mistress Lily. To it, Lily was its whole world. Both thought that this kind of life could continue forever. Until one day Lily's mother found a good job and needed to go on a business trip for a few days. So Lily and Hagen were temporarily handed over to the stepfather. However, the stepfather did not like dogs. Also, the apartment didn't allow dogs. But he couldn't persuade Lily. He had no choice but to take Hagen home. But after returning, the stepfather asked the dirty dog to stay alone. At dinner time, Lily secretly fed her steak to Hagen. Her stepfather found out and immediately scolded it. When it was time to go to bed, her stepfather refused to allow Hagen to sleep in. Instead, he locked it in the bathroom. The darkness of the bathroom made Hagen whisper in fear. This made the stepfather angry because the whispering affected his sleep. So Lily took Hagen's favorite trumpet and played its favorite music. She also stayed with Hagen in the bathroom all night. Next morning, a property manager came to say someone had reported they had a dog. In this community you need to pay taxes to keep dogs. If not, Hagen will be taken away. Lily was worried that her stepfather would abandon Hagen. So she secretly brought Hagen to school. However, when Lily was practicing the trumpet, Hagen heard the sound of her teacher playing the trumpet and mistakenly thought that Lily was calling. So she ran out to find Lily, causing chaos. The teacher was very angry and said that she would expel Lily. The stepfather was also very angry when he learned about this. He locked Lily in a car and threw Hagen out. Ignored Lily's shouting and drove Lily away directly. Hagen looked in amazement and didn't realize what was happening. Then it began chasing the car. She kept shouting through the car window. But her stepfather ignored. Hagen could not catch up with the car. In this strange city, Hagen was homeless and helpless. It was almost hit by vehicles on the road many times. It could only spend the night alone in the ruins. Because of hunger, he came to a butcher shop, hoping to find some food to fill his stomach. But it was immediately discovered by the owner. He picked up a knife and was about to turn Hagen into dog meat. Fortunately, a spotted dog appeared at this time, attracting his attention. Hagen escaped with the spotted dog. Then the spotted dog took Hagen to the pool. This was where homeless dogs gathered. Hagen thought it had found a new home. However, next day, the dog hunting team suddenly appeared, took the dog catching tools and captured the poor homeless dogs. Many dogs were locked in cages. Hagen took an opportunity to run away, however the team chased relentlessly. Hagen had nowhere to escape and had to hide in a house. A homeless man who lived there hid it under a quilt and successfully avoided the team's search. Hagen looked at the man and thought he was kind and it had a new place to rely on. Unexpectedly, the homeless man stood up and strangled it with a rope. At the same time, Lily was looking for it everywhere. She shuttled through various corners of the city and even posted a missing dog notice. She never thought that her beloved dog was sold to a dog dealer by the homeless man for $60. One day a dog trainer who came to buy a dog liked Hagen at first sight. He bought Hagen for $200 and Hagen thought it finally had a home. Who would have thought that the trainer was to train Hagen into a tool to make money? He whipped Hagen every day to stimulate its animal nature. He even starved it so that it could only eat raw meat. He tied it to a treadmill and ran all day. Soon after he injected Hagen with an anesthetic. Sharpened its teeth with a drill. Just like that the once lovely Hagen disappeared. At this moment he became extremely fierce and cruel. Its eyes were full of murderous intent and anger. It was aggressive and manic. Its sharp teeth made it look like a fierce lion. In the dog fighting arena the trainer chose the most ferocious opponent. The two dogs fought. The ground was full of blood. Finally in the second round Hagen bit its opponent. It stared blankly at its fellow dog lying on the ground. Its expression was full of sadness. Suddenly the power went out and Hagen took advantage of the chaos to escape. It wanted to leave this dark place looking for its owner Lily. On the other side Lily was very depressed at home. The stepfather looked at Lily's recent state and promised to choose a new dog. But Lily firmly disagreed and only wanted Hagen, who was very dependent on her. At the same time Hagen returned to the gathering place of homeless dogs. Their pedals accompanied it. The two dogs scavenged together and lived together. However, the people from Animal Agency took them to the homeless dog shelter. Since Hagen was a hybrid dog and had undergone special training, he looked very fierce, so no one was willing to adopt it. It was put on the euthanasia list by the administrator. Hagen looked inside through the gap and saw its friends stopped moving after injection. Reminded of the previous cruel torture, Hagen's trust in humans were gone. Its heart was filled with anger and hatred. It decided to avenge and change its fate. So it showed its sharp teeth and attacked the malicious staffer. The dogs saw Hagen so ferocious and broke out of cages. From that moment Hagen became their leader. The staffer tried to block Hagen's way. However, in Hagen's view doing so would only lead to its own death. It exuded the aura of an emperor. Its eyes were full of contempt and it ignored humans in front of it. It broke through the difficulties. The dogs in the iron cages also ran out. They followed Hagen's footsteps and began to madly retaliate against the humans who had hurt them. Its eyes were like an emperor despising the humans who were killing them. It rushed forward and destroyed them. A large group of dogs followed. They rushed to busy streets, leaving a mess behind. They were bound to take revenge on the people who made them homeless. After Lily learned about this, she guessed Hagen might be here. She rode her bicycle to find Hagen but couldn't find it. Hagen also broke its knee. At night Hagen found the dog dealer who had hurt it. But the dog dealer didn't realize the seriousness of the matter. He thought he could make a fortune again and wanted to catch Hagen. Hagen roared angrily. Many dogs rushed directly to the dog dealer. In this way the dog dealer got the retribution he deserved. Not long after, the dog trainer returned home. He found that there were many dogs in his home. He picked up a knife on a table. A dog quickly rushed over. Then several dogs subdued him to the ground together. Hagen walked slowly in the dark. It stared at the trainer with hatred in its eyes. Soon the dog trainer also died. Because a large number of dogs marched on the streets, they attracted the attention of the police. They picked up their weapons and shot one dog after another. Hagen realized the situation was not good and retreated immediately. But there were still many dogs being chased behind it. Meanwhile, Lily found Pedals and felt that she might find Hagen by following it. So she followed it on a bicycle. But unexpectedly a policeman appeared and shot Pedals. It fell to the ground in pain. Then the policeman walked forward and ignored Lily's obstruction and shot Pedals again. At this time Hagen's situation was not optimistic. It was targeted by the armed person again. Facing the enemy's hail of bullets, Hagen quickly fled. However, the armed person paid attention only on Hagen. He was totally unaware that countless dogs were rushing behind it. It was obvious that he was attracted by Hagen's tricks. Now Lily knew Hagen had taken revenge on the humans who had hurt it. She guessed Hagen would take revenge on her stepfather. She hurried to her stepfather's house. Sure enough, on the dim street she met Hagen, whom she had not seen for a long time. Watching Hagen slowly walk towards her, Lily picked up a stick on the ground and threw it at Hagen, trying to get it to pick up the stick like before. But Hagen stared at it indifferently and was unmoved. She cried and asked Hagen to pick up the stick quickly. Suddenly Hagen's companions appeared again. Lily took 2 steps back in fear. Since Hagen did not take next step, the dogs all stood still waiting for instructions. Lily looked at the familiar yet strange dog in front of her. Tears were running down her face. Suddenly her stepfather came out with a gun. Facing the threat, the dogs kept growling, as if they were calling their big brother to give an order to attack. At this time Lily took out Hagen's favorite trumpet and played pleasant music. Hagen's expression returned to the past. It sat quietly on the ground and stared at Lily. Finally it laid on the ground and listened stupidly. The dogs behind it also laid on the ground obediently. Has anyone ever thought they had been originally innocent and cute puppies? Then Lily also laid on the ground and looked at Hagen. Tears rolled down. Hagen also stared at her motionlessly. The stepfather was deeply moved by this scene. He walked over and laid on the ground like the dogs. The film ended here. For dogs all humans are like from God's viewpoint. For us who are watching we are a slow from God's viewpoint. The unequal viewpoint itself is discriminatory. The viewpoint may never disappear because everyone has the right to criticize. But as long as we don't abandon the kindness in our heart, just like the trumpet in Lily's hand in the film, there will be less killing in this cruel world. What's more, the earth never belongs to humans alone. Dogs are spiritual creatures. They also have their own thoughts. From the moment we become its owner, we are its whole world. It will be extremely loyal to us. Please don't let it down. If we have the ability to keep a dog, please treat it well.